Dreshtam manumapi sachiputram atra swarupam rupam tasya grajam urupurim maturim gostavatim radha kundam girivaram maho radhika madhavasam prapto yasya pratitha kripaya shri gurum tam natosmi Jayam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sunda Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila chapter 2, which is a condensed version of the final ecstatic Vipralamba themed pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, expressed primarily in the Gambhir in association of Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar, where he would hear various Madhurya Leela narrations from compositions and shlokas, etc., from the likes of Jayadev Goswami, Vidyapati, Chandidas, and who's that? Leela Suk. His name always eludes me. His earlier name was Leela Suk. He was attached to the prostitute Chintamani, and then Bilva Mangal Thakur. Yeah. So Mahaprabhu would hear these ecstatic Madhurya Leela narrations, and this would both fuel his ecstasy and alleviate his apparent suffering and separation from Krishna. And then, of course, sometimes he would escape the Gambhir. Sometimes miraculously, they would have two doors locked, and yet Mahaprabhu would somehow still escape. And the devotees would go searching for him and find him, hear him in the distance, sometimes wailing piteously in separation from Krishna. So in various circumstances, they would find him in states of utter despair and etc., and they would rescue him, bring him back to normal consciousness, etc. But anyway, so chapter 2 is like a synopsis, but it's a condensed narration of those later pastimes. Also, today is the Tirobhav Tithi of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So, perhaps we can start by saying a few words in honor of Narottam Thakur. Narottam Thakur is, of course, one of the more well-known historical figures in our sampradaya. He came a generation or two after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In terms of a disciplic generation, if we talk from guru to disciple as one generation, I think Narottam Das Thakur was perhaps 2 generations. But in terms of age, it's hard to tell exact dates, 1.5, 2. But anyway, Narottam Das Thakur is famous or often discussed as part of a trio of Vaishnavas. We hear of Narottam, Srinivas, and Shyamananda, this trio. Now they are very famous for stimulating a renaissance of Mahaprabhu's teachings in northeast India. Shyamananda Prabhu is from northern Orissa originally, so he revived Mahaprabhu's teachings in that area. And Srinivasa Acharya in Bengal, broader Bengal area, which includes East and West Bengal now. And Narottam Das Thakur preached widely in northeast India, including in the true northeast states, such as Assam, Manipur, I believe particularly Manipur. And the royal family, as a result, under the influence of his preaching, the royal family became devotees of Krishna, of Gauranga Mahaprabhu.
Which royal family?
I believe Manipur. The royal family at Manipur. So they have their own, the Manipuris have their own cultural tradition centered around Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Manipur, what are those states? There's 7 of them up there. Manipur, Assam, Tripura, Nagaland, Sikkim, all those states. But particularly, I believe, Manipur and Assam. So, Shamananda, they all have different titles. Shamananda Prabhu, Srinivas, Acharya, and Narottam Thakur. All these 3 different honorifics. They're known by Shamananda Prabhu, Srinivas Acharya, and Narottam Das Thakur. So Narottam was born not in a Brahminical family. We see most of Mahaprabhu's associates come from the Brahminical caste. Most of them, not all of them. But Narottam Das Thakur was born in the Kayashta, I believe, from memory. Kayashta is a common caste in northeast India. And I believe it's actually technically considered Sudra, whatever that means these days. But anyway, but he was born in a royal family. Now, royal would normally be considered Kshatriya. So I hope I'm not getting mixed up here. But anyway, he was born in a royal family, but perhaps Kayashtas can also occupy royal positions of power. So he was born in a moderately, powerful royal family. What was his father's name? Krishnananda rings a bell. Anyway, so he was born in opulent circumstances. We can imagine that his life offered all of the pleasures and comforts that most hope, work, strive for in life. They would have been available to him. Similar to Raghunath Das Goswami. So similar to Gangamata Goswami. She was also born in a royal family. Raghunath Das, not a royal family, but tantamount in terms of wealth, influence, comforts. So Narottam Das Thakur is born into this fortunate, so-called, materially fortunate situation. But from a young age, he has no desire to exploit that. Most children of wealthy, powerful people, they're born with samskars to pursue that, to enjoy that, to perhaps increase the family wealth, to enjoy all the trappings of material success. They're excited for that. So they follow the same trajectory generally as their parents. But Narottam Das Thakur was not of that kind. Showed disinterest in the material life from a very young age. So one day he would have these, at some stage he began having dreams in which Mahaprabhu himself would call him, Narottam, Narottam, come to Vrindavan. So that's one day what Narottam did. He escaped from his royal surroundings. I believe first he went to Navadvip area and met all the devotees there. Janavamata and who else? I forget. All the devotees that were present there at the time. So he took the Sangha, the association of the Navadvip Bengal devotees, and then continued his journey to Vrindavan. And at Vrindavan, he entered into the school, or began tutelage under Jiva Goswami. And there he joined up with Shamananda and Srinivas as disciples of Jiva Goswami. So they were educated by Jiva Goswami. And during that time, although Jiva Goswami was their tutor, he was not Narottam's guru per se. He was not his actual guru. So Narottam is looking around for a guru, and he meets Lokanath Goswami. Now, Lokanath Goswami is exalted, say on par with the Sad Goswamis of Vrindavan. He is one of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, but not officially included in the Sad Goswami list. A little like Bhugarbha Goswami. So Lokanath Goswami is living an exalted, renounced life in Vrindavan. And Narottam approaches him requesting initiation. But Lokanath is not accepting disciples. So he flatly refuses him. No, it's impossible. Forget the idea. I'm not taking disciples in this life. So Narottam is disappointed, but he doesn't give up. He devises a plan. Each night he goes, and where Lokanath does his morning ablutions, like where Lokanath goes to relieve himself past stool in the mornings, Narottam, he cleans that area thoroughly in the night, surreptitiously, so he cannot be seen. So every morning, Lokanath, he notices this. Lokanath Goswami notices that someone is coming secretly, cleaning this area. And so one night he decides to stay up, and he sees Narottam Das come sneaking in. He says, here is the culprit. Due to his persistence and his extremely humble, dedicated service, which are all symptoms of deep sincerity, and that is the main thing that is needed in the disciple, is sincerity, dedication. Gurudev says that really we don't need much. He says a disciple should pray to the Guru to be his sincere, dedicated and humble devotee. That's all. We don't need to pray for much. Keep your focus clear and simple. Don't get confused with multiple different options and objectives in your spiritual life. Sincerity, dedication, and humility towards one's Guru. That's all that's needed. So these traits were clearly displayed by Narottam Das Thakur. And so Lokanath knew he was qualified to be a disciple, even though Lokanath did not want any disciples. He did not want that. Which means that he's also a qualified guru. One of the symptoms of a qualified guru is that they're not interested in culturing disciples, or cultivating, a following. They're not with their hand in the air. I'm the Acharya, I'm next. Here I am. It's me.
I'm qualified.
Yeah. Look at Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. He didn't want to. He was invited to by all his illustrious godbrothers, encouraged to. They tried to push him into the position. Be the Acharya of our mission. You are the most qualified. We need you. We want you. But he said, no, I'm not so interested in this. Most 99.99% of people in that position would go, yes, this is good, my future's fine, looking bright. Disciples are on the way, money's on the way, prestige and power is on the way. Excellent. But we see that the genuine Paramahansa, or the Paramahansa must be genuine. There's no illegitimate Paramahansa. So the genuine Vaishnava, exalted Paramahansa Vaishnava, is not interested in such things. And genuinely, there's no show. They are genuinely uninterested. So we see this in the history of Srila Param Gurudev. And then, of course, out of gracious mercy, he did initiate some people at the behest of Nityananda Prabhu. But on his own accord, he was uninterested. So we see these people on the level of Narottam Das Thakur. Param Gurudev himself equated his own guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, with Narottam. Here, in the Prabhupada Padmastabhakam, Raghu Rupa Sanatana Kirti Dharam Dharani Tala Kirti Jiva Kavim Kaviraja Narottama Shakya Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. Kaviraja Narottama Shakya Padam. Shakya Padam. Kaviraj. So he's equating him. Raghu Rupa Raghunath, Bhatta Raghunath Das. Rupa, Raghu Rupa Sanatana, Jiva Kavim. Raghunath, the two Raghunaths, Sanatana. No, Raghu Rupa, the two Raghunaths, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami. These are the Sad Goswamis of Vrindavan. And Raghu Rupa Sanatana, Jiva Kavim. Raghu Rupa Sanatana, Jiva Kavim. Kaviraja Narottama Shakya Padam. No, that's the third verse. That's the third line. Raghu Rupa Sanatana. How does it go? What's the first line? Kirti Dharam, yeah. Raghu Rupa Sanatana. Kirti Dharam. So Kirti means like to glorify, to praise, to make famous. Or the illustrious glories. That's Kirti, the glories. So Raghu Rupa Sanatana. Kirti Dharam. Dhara, what does Dhara mean? Dhara means to hold something. Like Giri Dhari, the holder of Govardhan hill, the holder of the hill. So Raghu Rupa Sanatana Kirti Dharam. So he is holding the glory and the power of Raghunath, Rupa Sanatan, Raghu Rupa Sanatana Kirti Dharam. And then Dharani Tala Kirtita Jiva Kavim, the glory also of the great poet Jiva Goswami, scholar Kavim. Kaviraj Goswami. Narottam, so he's equating him also with Narottam Das Goswami. Kaviraja Narottama Sakya Padam. What does Sakya mean? Sakya means a fraternity. Sakya Rasa. Brotherhood. He's in the brotherhood, in the fraternity of Narottam Das Thakur. Padam means a place, or in the same step or location. So he's in that place of fraternity of Narottam Das Thakur. So we see Param Gurudev himself equating his own Gurudev with Narottam Das Thakur as part of that fraternity, part of that brotherhood. And we see he himself exhibiting those same symptoms. He doesn't want disciples, does not want this prestige, as we see exhibited in the pastime of Lokanath Das Goswami, Narottam begging for initiation. So finally Narottam Das Thakur's wishes were fulfilled, and he was initiated, accepted as a disciple by Lokanath Goswami. He continued his tutelage under Jiva Goswami. But there's one more point to be made regarding this, and it relates to our aforementioned equating by Param Gurudev of Narottam with his own spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And we can see the parallel. Narottam's begging Lokanath Das Goswami for initiation and being given it as his singular disciple, with Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's begging Gaura Kishore Das Babaji for initiation. And after some time, being given initiation as Gaura Kishore Das Babaji's only disciple. It's a very clear parallel there. And there's one more parallel, and this is that Lokanath Das Goswami was a recluse. He did not preach widely. He lived in the forest, cultivated his bhajan, and he accepted one disciple. And what did that one disciple, Narottam Das Thakur, do? He preached widely, more so than any one of his generation. And what did Saraswati Thakur do, the only disciple of Gaura Das Babaji? Exactly the same thing. Preached widely, more so than any one of his generation. Kavi Raja Narottama Sakya Padam. They're in the same fraternity, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur. Back to the same point, back to the point of not wanting to accept disciples. We see also with our own dear Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, the same thing. Nominated by his own guru as the Acharya from a very young age, but not wanting to take that seat, no desire for the trappings of prestige and etc., all these things that come along with the Acharyaship. No desire. Forced into the chair by Guru Maharaj. If you don't, I will donate my deities to a god brother, close down my mutt, and pass away. So under duress from his own Gurudev, our Gurudev took the Acharya's chair. These days we have, hey, it's me, I'm over here, the Acharya. I'm next. Can't you all see? No names. We only thank consider our fortune that we can follow, we can serve people who are genuine Vaishnavas at the topmost exalted platform, the top echelon, spiritual advancement. Paramahansa Vaishnavas. So what we can do practically is we can look at the lila, the symptoms and the behaviors of the Vaishnavas that are discussed in our historical literatures. And when we see them matched today, like, Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, then we can be confident that we are also following truly in this line coming from the Goswamis. So Narottam Das Thakur continues in the school of Jiva Goswami. Not that he's running an official school, but he was at that time the preeminent teacher in Braja, preeminent Vaishnav, Gaudiya Vaishnav, teacher in Braja. And he is writing his Satsandarbhas, and he is teaching qualified students, including Narottam, Shamananda, Srinivas. So once they had graduated, so to speak, then they were tasked with taking the Goswami Grantha, so all these literatures that had been produced over the last so many years by the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were tasked with taking them from Vrindavan to Bengal to be distributed and reproduced, introduced to the devotee community in Bengal. Because although there was interaction between the two communities, the Vaishnavas of Bengal and the Vaishnavas of Braj, still the distance was quite significant for that time. To travel would take several weeks to go from place to place. So the exchange of ideas and literature was very, very different to what we have today. Thus, this trio of Vaishnavas, Narottam, Shamananda, Srinivas, was tasked with taking one big package, one big load of literatures to Bengal, so that all of the literatures of the Goswamis, which they had been requested, which they had compiled at the request of Mahaprabhu himself to Rup Sanatan, that they all could be distributed, introduced to, and all the Vaishnavas of Bengal could benefit from reading those literatures. So this is what they did. They filled up a bullock cart, or they filled up a chest and loaded it of these books and loaded it onto the bullock cart and set off for Bengal. Now, somewhere along the way, they had to pass through a territory of a peculiar king who, it turns out, although he was religious, he was also a brigand. He was a thief. And he would waylay, he'd apprehend and plunder travellers passing through his territory. Of course, if he felt they were carrying something valuable. He had an astrologer in his employ who specialized in determining whether the travellers passing through the kingdom were carrying anything valuable. There's techniques in astrology to figure out almost everything. So, obviously his astrologer was specializing in this technique because this was the king's interest. So one day the astrologer said, there are these people now passing through our territory carrying great wealth. They're carrying immense wealth. He's looking at his chart and he's saying they're coming through now with immense wealth. So the king, they identified these three. They had couple of guards with them perhaps, but during the night, the king's men, they robbed the chest of books. They took it back to the palace. And when the devotees woke up in the morning, they were absolutely devastated. All this treasure. In those days, it wasn't as if you could easily reproduce a book. Everything had to be copied by hand. And not just anyone could copy. You would have to employ a scribe who could properly, had decent handwriting and was able to perform the task. It was a skilled job. It wasn't something anyone could do. So the books were in very short supply. They were like treasures, and if lost, perhaps irreplaceable. Perhaps there was one other copy, or in some cases, perhaps no other copies of these books. They were the only copies. And they had been stolen in the night. So they were completely devastated. They wrote a letter back to the Vrindavan devotee community, to the Goswamis in Vrindavan. All the books had been stolen. It's all gone, it's all over, lost. And they were absolutely devastated. Even this one unauthorized opinion that the news was such a shock that, we have the day where Kaviraj Goswami passes away, and it was just recently. So the two Raghunaths and Kaviraj Goswami? Their disappearance, is it not? A couple of weeks ago. So there's some, and this is not accepted. This is not an orthodox accepted historical fact. But there's some that like to say that when the news reached Braja, this was what caused the passing away of all of these on the same day. But this is not accepted by Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, etc. Anyway, they were greatly shocked, and Srinivasacharya, he sent Narottam and Shamananda to continue to Bengal, and he himself decided to stay in the area to try and find the books, which he did successfully, as we know the story. He began visiting the court of the king, whose name was someone Veera. Do you remember the name? I mean, the district is called Vishnupur. His capital was called Vishnupura. And there's Veera in the name. I forget the exact name. But he, curiously, was a Bhagavatam enthusiast. So he was a thief and a Bhagavatam enthusiast. Where, we all have contradictory elements to our nature, but perhaps that not that much of a stark contradiction. He was robbing people and also listening to the Bhagavatam. So he would hold Bhagavatam discussions in his court. And he had a court pundit who was reading the Bhagavatam. And during one of these recitals, Srinivasacharya corrected some of the statements of the court pundit. And the court pundit became indignant. Who are you? I am a professional. I'm reciting Bhagavatam in the court of the king. And he said, would you like to come and can you do better? And challenged him. And Srinivas said, yes, I think I can. And he did much better. And of course, everyone was ecstatic, stunned, impressed by his Bhagavatam delivery, by his Bhagavatam discourse, including the king. And then, of course, over the days it came to be known that the king, of course, inquired, why are you here, etc. The king broke down and said, oh, we have your books. This pastime is recounted in Narahari Chakravarti's Bhakti Ratnakara. It's a great book. It's a main book that discusses the this time of a generation or so after Mahaprabhu. We have the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is discussing the time of Mahaprabhu. And so some 30, 40 years later, after Mahaprabhu passes away, the Bhakti Ratnakara discusses that era. The devotees, the prominent figures and the pastimes of that era are discussed in the Bhakti Ratnakara. It may also be touched on in a book called the Prem Vilas of Nityananda Prabhu, but some parts of that are considered historically unreliable. There may be some anachronisms or interpolations, who knows. Some things don't seem to add up. But the Bhakti Ratnakara is a reliable work, and it tells of this story. So he finds the books. Srinivas recovers the books, and the joyous news is relayed to Vrindavan, Navadvip, etc. So the books of the Goswamis are recovered and brought to Bengal. And back to Narottam, he engages in vigorous preaching. Very successful, wide preaching, including he himself is from a royal family, and he converts the royal family of, I do believe it's Manipur. I don't think it's Assam. And a new kind of Vaishnav culture with dance and music, religious dance and music springs up around this Vaishnav culture of Manipur. So they have their own Vaishnav culture there. Narottam himself had his own style of dance and playing the mridanga and kirtan, quite unique. He had some conflict with the Brahmanas during his preaching because they felt that a person born in a lower caste cannot initiate Brahmanas. We see another parallel with Saraswati Thakur. the Brahmanas didn't like him. They slandered him and created propaganda against him. And at one stage when he was showing sickness, apparently suffering from sickness and disease, and at the brink of physical departure, his disciples begged him, don't go, because all the Brahmanas now, what they're doing, these caste Brahmanas, what they're doing is they're gossiping that, oh yes, this Narottam, you see, he's committed offences to the Brahmanas and now he's suffering in his old age. He's paying the karmic results, he's suffering the karmic results of offences to the Brahmanas. And this, of course, was diminishing the supremacy of a Bhagavad Dharma, Vaishnav Dharma. The Brahmanas saying, look, even this Vaishnav, Brahminical culture is topmost. This Vaishnav cannot, he's offended us and now he's suffering. So of course this is antithetical to the dignity. This compromises the dignity of Vaishnavism. So Narottam, he extended his own life. And then at an appropriate time, at a later date, sometime later, his body dissolves into the river, into the Ganga or the Padma river. There are many, many pastimes concerning Narottam. As mentioned, he is a famous luminary in our Gaudiya Vaishnava history. Mahaprabhu even deposits some special mercy in the Padma river for Narottam. He's chanting, Narottam, Narottam. People ask him, why are you saying Narottam? And at a later date, Narottam comes and on his way, leaving home to Vrindavan, he comes and he collects that spiritual nectar. Yes. So there are many, many pastimes. These are recounted in certain books, as mentioned, Prem Vilas of Nityananda Prabhu, perhaps. Yes, also in, not Hari Bhakti Vilas, in Bhakti Ratnakar. Narottam Vilas, Prem Vilas, Narottam Charit. There's three main books. Anyway, Prem Vilas, Narottam Vilas, maybe another one. Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Narottam Das Thakur's songs. What is the other one? Pratana. These are collections of Narottam Das Thakur's songs. So we cannot conclude without mentioning Narottam Das Thakur's liturgical contribution. What is a liturgy? Liturgy of the songs of a religious tradition, essentially. So our liturgy, which is compiled fairly exhaustively in our songbook, pretty much all the songs are there. If you look through, you'll see that the lion's share are composed by who? Narottam Das Goswami and Bhakti Vinod Thakur. The lion's share of our songs, the majority of our songs, are by these two acharyas, Narottam and Bhakti Vinod. So what a yeoman, is arcane word, yeoman, means like a colossal contribution, that is. All of these songs, including the highest song, like Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, the beautiful songs to Guru, Sri Guru Charana Padma, Nitai Pada Kamala. All of these songs central to our sampradaya have been given by Narottam Das Thakur. So we contemplate him and his illustrious glories and contributions on this day of his Tirobhav, Titi, Tirobhav, disappearance. The lunar day of his disappearance, where the mercy of, as Gurudev says, as the Vaishnav disappears, they cast one last, very liberal, very magnanimous glance over the landscape, distributing their mercy. Their kripa, anugraha, is given out very liberally on the Tirobhav Titi, the disappearance day.
Different than Avibhav?
No, same, but, well, maybe different. I'm sure there's some difference, but there's the same theme that they're both special days where the mercy of that figure, that personality is available. So not different in the sense that there is a special availability of mercy on both days. And some may think that the appearance day is a very optimistic day, very happy day, and the disappearance day is very sad. They may think that the appearance day is when the mercy is appearing and being distributed, and the disappearance day is when the mercy of that person is being withdrawn. But it's not that simple. Both days can be seen in a happy way. Of course, the disappearance is bittersweet. For someone actually involved in for someone actually with involvement in you could say, relationship, who's, for instance, when Param Gurudev passed away, we have Gurudev involved in a deep, loving relationship. So for them it's a difficult time, of course, but I always remember how Gurudev recounted, I wasn't there personally, but on Tirobhav Titis, I always remember how Gurudev wrote that when his own guru passed away in Navadvip in 1988, on that day he went before the deities, Sri Guru Gauranga, Gandharva Govinda Sundar. He himself was in a extremely distraught mood, but he went before the deities and saw with his divya chakshush, his divine vision, that they were in a very happy mood. They were dancing and happy. And he realized, oh, yes, their dear servitor is back. So how can you not be happy if the deities of your guru are dancing and happy? They've got their dear servitor has returned. So in that sense, it's bittersweet. For me, it's all theoretical, but for the likes of my Gurudev, it's not so like that. So we can appreciate that, and one day it will become less theoretical and more emotionally real. I say emotionally, devotionally real. But that is the theory of, or that is the what has been told concerning Tirobhav Titis, is that although it may appear sad, there is a final dispensation, broad and liberal dispensation of kripa from the departing Vaishnava. Bhakti Thakur says, he reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die, for they are living still and sound. While living, Vaishnavas die to live, and while living, spread the holy name around. So he reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die. So in all aspects, before and after physical appearance, the Vaishnavas are you could say a dynamo, like of distributing mercy, generating and distributing the good stuff. Kripa, Karuna. Jai Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki Jai, Sri Narottam Das Thakur Tirobhav Mahotsava Titi ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. I think we'll finish up there, shall we?
Did you sing the Jayanilo now?
We can sing it now. We haven't sung it yet. Would you like to sing it?
Yes. $143. Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachu
Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachu
Hello Prabhu Gadādhara Paṇḍita Dāsa
Jai Sakari Gari Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhara Ju ki
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pad Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pad Shri Bhakti Rakha Shri Dhade Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pad Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki
Jai.
Jai Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Samveda Vaishnava Mandala ki
Jai.
Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki
Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat West London ki Jai. Shri Narottam Das Thakur Thiruval Titi Mahamahotsava ki Jai. Shri Kartik Mas Vrata Damodar Vrata Urja Niyamaseva Vrata ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Nitai Go Brahmanandi Hari
Hari Bo.
Kirti